Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about adjusting the valve on your Lynx 12, right? So that's this little circle thing over here. And if you look here, you're going to see there's these little holes over here, right? So there's a big hole, then there's one that's a little bit smaller, and then there's the tiny one, okay? There's this little indent on the side here that you would push down, okay? And then you would use a vice grip while you're pushing that down a little. Use a vice grip to rotate this. Now it looks like there's these little other indents on the other side. It looks like there's some type of a key that is supposed to fit in there to help you rotate this. I've never seen that key. Neither of these guns shipped with that key. I don't know if it's available for you to buy, but that would make it a lot easier, right? If you had that key. So basically, you gotta use the vice grip in order to rotate this. Now, if you intend to keep going back and forth with different types of ammunition, with birdshot, with slugs, you want to make sure that you keep your valve clean, open it up, keep it clean, because it will seize up. Both these guns, the valves have seized up. And when I tried moving it earlier, I saw that. I didn't want to take a chance of breaking it because these guns are money makers for me. I need to use them like tomorrow, so I didn't want to take a chance of cracking them. So that's why I'm not going to be demonstrating different types of ammunition at different valve settings. Okay, but besides that, I can still give you guys the information that you need. So if you look at the valve settings, there's 4 settings here. The big hole is what you would use, let's say, for birdshot. Because that's going to allow more gas into the system. So big hole allows more gas into the system. The tiny hole, right over here, that's going to allow the least amount of gas into the system. So if you're shooting 3-inch slugs, you're definitely going to want to be at the tiny hole, okay? So here's the thing: the shotguns are very versatile, right? They shoot 2 3/4 or 3-inch, right? Rather, the Lynx 12 is very versatile. Shoots 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. It also will shoot birdshot, it will shoot buckshot, it will shoot slugs. So each of these different type of ammunition have different pressures. So you have to adjust that valve to what you're shooting, because if the pressure's too low, the gun's not going to cycle, right? Because the way this gun works, the gas basically comes up through this block over here, hits the puck, sends this back. So it's got to have enough pressure to send the bolt back and cycle the gun, right, in order for it to work. But if it has too much pressure, it's going to basically beat up the back end of the gun, right? And it's going to break your gun sooner rather than later. So you wanna match it up to the right pressure. On the 2 extremes here are, if you're shooting birdshot, you want the big hole. If you're shooting 3-inch slugs, you want the tiniest hole, right? But what about the in between, right? Well, here's the thing: there's some experimentation involved here. So I can't tell you, for this type of ammunition, use this hole, or for that type, use that hole. What I'm going to say is that you want to, basically favor the smaller hole, right? Start with the small hole and then move your way up to the bigger hole. So let's say I was going to shoot 2 3/4 inch slugs. All right. Any slugs, I would start with the tiniest hole, right? The smallest hole. So I would put the 2 3/4 inch slugs in there. I would shoot the gun. If I see that it's not cycling, all right, let's say there's not enough pressure in the system, then I would rotate it up to the bigger hole, right? So I would go from the tiniest hole to the next, to the slightly bigger hole. See how that works, okay? So if you're shooting buckshot, right? Buckshot, I would probably, again, if I'm shooting like 3-inch buckshot, I might start with the tiniest hole. Start with that. If it doesn't cycle, then again, go up to a slightly bigger hole. If that doesn't cycle, go up to a slightly bigger, to the other next biggest hole. If you're shooting 2 3/4 inch buckshot, same thing. I would probably start with the, I might start, let's say, with the, either not the tiniest hole, but the next biggest hole. Try that out. It's probably not going to cycle. Then go to the bigger hole after that, right? So there's a little bit of experimentation. If you're shooting the gun and you see that it's working at a setting, go back to a small hole. See if it'll work with the slightly smaller hole. If it doesn't, go up to the next biggest hole. And keep notes. If you shoot lots of different ammunition, you're going to probably want to keep a book and start making notes of which setting you need to used for different types of ammunition. Okay, now when I first got these guns, I experimented like in the first week with slugs and buckshot and that kind of stuff, just to learn the gun, understand how that valve works. And after that first week, I've done basically 100% birdshot. Okay, so I've only done birdshot. This gun over here was my first gun. Like I said, both these guns have 15,000 rounds on them. I went 8,000 rounds before I cleaned this gun for the first time. So that kind of gives you an idea of why my valve setting is seized up over here. Okay, so don't do that. I'm not putting that out there as an example for you guys to follow. I'm putting that out there as an example for you guys not to follow. Okay, clean the valve if you intend, especially if you intend to use the valve and shoot different types of ammunition. Make sure your valve is clean so that you're able to rotate it to where you need it to be. Okay, so what I want to do, let me open up this gun right here. Take it off. Okay, so this is the Recoil Spring. This is the second one I put in, right? So I think the first time I changed it was somewhere around, somewhere between 8 and 10,000 rounds. I don't remember the exact number. And it's got at least 6,000-7,000 rounds since I changed this Recoil Spring. And if you look at the rubber back here, it's like almost new, right? It's got a couple of marks over here. The little side plate here, that came off, right? But the rubber is in really good condition after 6,000-7,000 rounds. Okay, so if you just bought a Lynx 12, right, and you're shooting buckshot or slugs, open up the gun, look at this little piece of rubber here. If you've only shot, let's say, 100 rounds through the gun, and you see that this rubber is getting like all chewed up, that's a good indication that you got too much gas. You're using too much gas. You need to change your valve setting to a smaller hole. Okay, so that's the thing to look at, because like I said, this piece of rubber here has 6,000-7,000 rounds on it, and it's like almost new, right? So that's something to keep an eye on. That's something that will give you an indication. Okay, so but yeah, there's a little experimentation involved. If you're shooting birdshot, yeah, you're definitely gonna need that big, especially if it's like cheap birdshot, right? If you're shooting like 3-inch buckshots, I'm sorry, if you're shooting birdshot, you're gonna need the big hole. If you're shooting, let's say, 3-inch birdshats, you might need to go up to the slightly smaller hole, but that's just experimentation. You gotta try it out. If you try it out. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't cycle, then go back to the biggest hole. Now, you guys might be wondering, why am I only shooting birdshot through these guns? I did because a lot of times when people think of the Lynx 12, they're thinking, oh, self-defense. They're going to use buckshot, or they're going to use slugs, or I did a video on using the Lynx 12 for self-defense. And I think that there's better options out there. I think an AR-15 is a better option. I think an AK-47 is a better option. Now, these part of the reason is reliability. Now, my guns are very reliable, okay, but here's the thing. These Lynx 12s, they're made in China. I don't know where in China they're made. I don't know if they're all made in the same factory. Somebody made a comment in one of my that they are made in the same factory where the wrinkles are made. But I can't go over there and double check them and check them. I don't know. I don't know if they're getting the parts from the same place. So. And the reason why I'm saying this is because people have made comments in the past that they just bought a Lynx 12 and it's not cycling birdshot, or they're getting jams or whatever, and I believe them, but I can't explain why their guns are not reliable while my guns are, other than to say, hey, I mean, these things are imported from China. I don't know what kind of quality control they go through. I don't know if the one you got went through the same quality control that mine went through. So I don't know. So that's why I usually tell people, stick to like mil-spec AR-15s. They're made to a minimal standard, right? It doesn't even mean that it's a high standard. It's made to a minimal standard. And the other thing is, if your AR-15 breaks, listen, everybody's got parts for AR-15s. Everybody knows how to fix AR-15s. So the question becomes, what's the purpose of these guns, right? Why do I use these guns? These guns, right, allow me to train people in such a way that I can't do it with AR-15s, because with AR-15s, usually we're shooting at steel targets that are stationary, right? You know, the best I can do, right, to try to get people to sort of think on their feet is to like call out targets, or tell people if they miss, shoot until they actually hit the target. But with the Lynx 12, right, I can have people shoot at clay discs using the birdshot, right, because the birdshot is safe to shoot into the air because it's only going to go out for about 200 feet. And here's the thing, with the birdshot, I can say, well, because when you throw the clay discs out there, you don't know where the clay disc is going to go. So I might say, well, I only want you to shoot it if it's in this zone or in that zone, or if it let's say it splits in half, I want you to completely destroy it. So using these Lynx 12s and clay discs with birdshot, I'm able to kind of teach people to think on their feet. You know, I'm able to say, okay, find the target, get your reticle on the target, shoot the target, assess, did you do a good enough job? If not, shoot again, and then repeat the cycle. I'm able to do that in such a way that I can't do with AR-15s and AK-47s, right? So I kind of use this to kind of bridge the gap. This fills in, you know, certain areas of training that I can't do with an actual AR-15 because, you know, I can't sit because I can't have people shooting clay discs with AR-15s, right? You know, same thing applies, let's say, with airsoft training, right? With airsoft training, I can do certain types of role-playing scenarios where we can actually, because here's the thing, when you're training, right, you're either going to have real guns and fake targets, right, like we got out there, or you're going to have fake guns and real targets. And by real targets, I mean people. Okay, so with airsoft or paintball, right, if you're treating it realistic, and working in certain types of scenarios and getting people to think, I'm able to take the training to a whole different level. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing here. Like between airsoft and also shooting the Lynx 12 with a clay disc, and then also doing like AR training and pistol training, I'm able to do like a complete type of training. And where one type of training falls short, right, such as if you're only shooting at fake targets, right, that don't think and don't shoot back, I can kind of bridge those gaps by using different, in one case using the Lynx 12, in another case, using airsoft or paintball or whatever. So that's why the Lynx 12 is such a great training tool, when used with clay disc shooting. And that's why I use it so much, and why each of these guns have like 15,000 rounds on it. Okay, but yeah, for self-defense, I use people go with the thing that is going to work. AR-15s, AK-47s. Your backup pistols should probably be a Glock or a SIG. So those are my thoughts on that. So I hope this video was helpful in terms of how to use the gas valve. Right, the adjustable valve here, and the thing to remember is the big circle means more gas is being let into the system. The tiny circle means less gas is being let into the system, and you gotta be willing to experiment a little bit with it, right? Try to go to that smaller hole and see if the gun will still cycle. Right, if it doesn't cycle, then you just go back up to the bigger hole. It's that easy. Okay, but yeah, you don't want to be shooting, let's say, buckshot or slugs out of like the biggest hole there, which is going to allow the maximum amount of, allow a lot of pressure into the system, which is going to beat up the back end of the gun over here. So drop some comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you found this video useful, let me know. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys next time.